next time. But right now, we're going to get Milmano back, and we'll load up our second game. Guys, as well, don't forget, we do have an iPad giveaway going on right now, and we'll post the link to that in the chat. If you want to enter, it's completely free. And all you have to do is go to escape.gg/giveaway, and you can enter on that page right there. But more information about that will come between each set of games. We want to just get each set done, and then we can talk about that kind of stuff in between. So, Milmano, if you're ready, I'll count us down, and we'll go into game number 2 here.
I am ready.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1, play. And for those of you on the stream, we are here with game number 2 in the BacT versus dogao qualification match for the All-Star League. If BacT wins this game, he makes it through to the main stage. If dogao wins it, then of course we will go to game 3, where the winner will be decided there. So up to the northeast of the map, in the red, we have dogao playing as the Franks. Down to the southwest, in the blue, we have BacT playing as the Franks as well. With me once again is Milmano.
Hello.
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 Anything to add?
Not really. No, I don't know how to do intros. I haven't got a batter sausage on me at this time, so I can't really have an excuse. It's Highland. Actually, last time I done a Highland, long time ago. Tell you what, it's not a map I always do. It's river in between both players. You seem to have as well. You start with a few more sheep. I think you also just have standard amount of board, 2 of them, if I'm correct. Yes, I am correct. So it's really interesting, of course. So the water, of course, hasn't got a lot of fish. It's got a few, tunas or, a couple of cheeky dorados. Great stuff. So you can cross the river with that small, sometimes 1, sometimes 2, shore. What do you call that stuff? Shallows. There we go. That's the thing I'm looking for. Shallows to cross over. Of course, you can try and land across if it's blocked off. So we'll see what happens. Water, of course, dominant to a degree, because if you control the water, how else do you get to your opponent's side? Unless you snuck over, which can be a possibility. But look at dogao's map. If you land, my God, where
do you go?
Where do you go? You got to either walk to the left, which he's already there, or at the very bottom right. So
yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Makes it really easy to defend from a landing, that's for sure. And I think dogao's probably gonna like that. Not only that as well, but it does seem to me like there is more gold on dogao's side of the map. He does seem to have, obviously, his first, second, and third golds, but he's also got 2 of the additional gold piles on his side of the river, whereas BacT only has 3 gold piles and no additional golds on his side at all. So, saying that, though, at the same time, BacT, although he doesn't have as much gold on his side, he does have more space on his side. I guess that can be a blessing and a curse if dogao decides to get a landing on, as that means there's more sort of area for dogao to build a landing and sneak across.
Absolutely. So let's see how this will develop. Now, of course, Frank's water zip-wise, they're pretty shocking. They're not really the best, that's for sure. They get nothing in terms of helping them on the water. Their docks techs are okay. They get the galleon and the dry dock, but no shipwright. That's pretty much it, as far as I'm aware. They get cannon galleon, but no elites. So
sure.
At least it's not the worst. You could have Aztecs to a degree, where in terms of water spec-wise, but they're not anything to cry home about. But they're both Franks, so nothing's being lost on either side. So we'll see how that one will pan out. Looks like BacT is gonna look like to wall already. He's got a house being laid down next to the ball. So I reckon is he gonna drop a dock first and then wall, or is he? Yeah, he's gonna drop a dock, isn't he?
Yeah,
go on, BacT, drop the dock.
I might be a little ahead of you because I see BacT already building the dock here. I'm at 517 right now. But yeah, I think right here the question is, how do they open on the water? Because in the early game, water control is going to be really important, preventing your opponent from fishing. Preventing them getting that advantage, and also holding down the river so they can not cross and not potentially send a landing over in a transport ship. And if we do take a quick look at the tech tree, they do get the fire galley, and this is something that players should be opening with on the expansions. And I do want to quickly explain this, because for these players, they aren't used to playing on AoE HD. They're much more familiar with the original Conqueror's disc version of the game. And all these fancy new expansion civilizations from the Forgotten Empires, the African kingdoms, the Rise of the Rajas, it's all new to these guys. And I guess it's been out for a while now, but we've seen in the past players, even in this tournament, still not opening with fire galleys, which is a brand new fire ship which is available in the Feudal Age. And as a result, they've kind of been getting shafted because players who make galleys into fire galleys lose the water. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to be interested to see how they open in the Feudal Age on the water here and see how that pans out, because winning the early water is really important, as I say, about the fish and also the map control.
Yeah, absolutely. They did make a couple of small balance changes into the water from the recent patch, but nothing really significant. One was about the demolition raft, I think a slightly larger explosion radius, which can be something important to note, but I don't think it's going to be in this particular game that important. But I think something to note just in case we do see a cheeky little raft being thrown in, because I do like to see. When I watch TaToH, he does like to throw a couple of those in, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if anyone has taken any notice of it, but we'll see.
TaToH is a fantastic player with the demolition ships. He always seems to find a demolition ship killed somewhere in the match. But the Franks have actually received a lot of buffs in the expansions as well. And obviously, it's not going to matter so much. These buffs and nerfs don't really change anything when it's a mirror civ match, since both players have the same tech tree anyway. But I think it's worth mentioning that, in AOC, the Franks are one of the worst 1v1 civs imaginable. But in the African or the Forgotten Empires, the expansions on HD, they have been buffed significantly. Their scout cavalry are affected by the Frank bonus of 20% extra HP, as well as the knights, which is something new for the Franks here. And also they get a berry gather bonus, so they gather from the berries a lot quicker. And they also get a buff to the throwing axemen as well. So, they're a much stronger civ in the expansions. But, in this game, as I say, since it is a mirror, it's not going to matter too much, but I do just want to kind of bring to the table those changes that have been made.
Yeah, what's interesting here in this game is if you look at the fishing ships, BacT gone with a standard 4. dogao's actually only got 3, which is only 1, but it's interesting because 1 is less malwood spent on the water, but then again though, BacT will have a larger fish gathering rates, so it's good for him. Although he's just gone to shorefish though, so
yeah,
because of course they just run out. But we'll see if he wakes up to it. He actually sends one out to scout. That's nice to see. You'll actually quickly see that dogao not far away. dogao getting a second dock down, like BacT will finish up his wall.
Well, the actual interesting thing about the third fishing ship, instead of the fact that dogao made 3 instead of 4 ships, means that he can actually get his third dock a little faster here. So dogao's already building his third dock now. And what's interesting as well is that both players started with fire galleys. That's a big thumbs up from me. They've already adapted to the new water balance. And not only that, but dogao's going to follow up with a demolition raft and galleys now. So he opens with 2 fires, he adds a demolition raft and then 2 galleys, and I think he's going to go for that really classic combo of fires with galleys behind it. But the fact he's added the demolition raft already is very nice. And we've also got BacT doing the same with the demolition raft here. So the water metagame is definitely shifting more in recent times.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love it. I'm loving to see this. I haven't actually personally casted one of these games where it's been on water, water dominated. So really looking forward to see how this will play out. Yeah. Demolition rafts. I just want to see those explosions, man. Just want to see them all go off.
Well, I think this is a good thing for dogao to add the galleys here, because the idea is the galleys will kill the demolition raft before they get to the fires. The fires will kill the fires, and then the galleys will obviously shoot in from the back as well, unharmed. You can do a lot more damage output with galleys behind fire ships, because you don't have to worry about, unit blocking, because the galleys can fire over the ships at the front.
Absolutely.
So that's really important to keep in mind. There's the first demolition raft coming in, and dogao's gonna juke it. He mostly juked it. He took a little bit of damage on his galleys. And he's got his own demolition raft at the back as well. BacT here trying to keep his fire galleys well spaced out to prevent the demolition raft doing too much damage, but he is going to get a pretty big hit there. And now he's going to be pushed back, as BacT does seem to be really 100% in on the fire galleys here. And another demolition raft coming forward as well. This could really change the pace of this battle, as BacT is going to get the upper hand now, as it's fire galleys versus galleys. And I do question, did dogao switch to galleys too soon?
I think he has. That demolition raft by BacT did more than I thought when I first looked at it. It sort of broke up a little bit too much. You know, a lot of damage was done as well to the galleys, and I think dogao was a little bit out by it, because then his positioning then was a bit misplaced, and now we're seeing the effects from it. BacT pumping out a few more fire galleys, and it's actually really paid out here, because all the fish is gone. He's lost all control of the water, and I'm now thinking, how can he get this back? He's got one demolition raft. Can he do something with it?
Well, the problem is you can't expect to win the water back with demolition rafts. It doesn't really work that way, because when you explode your demolition raft into an enemy unit, it's gone. You have no more presence on the water then. You know, there's nothing to follow it up with. There's nothing to follow through with. So, you know, a demolition raft, it requires, first of all, hitting more than one unit. Otherwise, it's not worth the cost. And it requires a follow-up. And dogao doesn't have that follow-up right now. He's lost the water. He's lost his 3 fishing ships. And now BacT is in a very good position. I also want to point out as well that BacT did kill dogao's scout. And you can see the dead body of the scout there. Why is that significant? Well, without dogao's scout being alive, he's not going to be able to scout for a potential landing. And he might need to start walling up a lot earlier than necessary. It could cost him a little bit in his eco to do that as well. And so dogao now pretty much in the dark, and BacT has full water.
Yeah, full water control. It's got, you know, the other crossing also covered. I mean, the only good thing for dogao is that he can easily wall up his base. You can see that already to the south. He's got 2 houses being put down. So he's all going to put down a market as well. Is he going to try and go up quickly? Oh, he's nowhere near up, of course, so that's not going to happen. This is going to be so tough for him. I can't see a way of him getting around this problem at this point. I'm trying to think in my head what he can do, except just try and get up to Kaza as soon as possible, and then hold his base for a bit and try and get back on the water if this docks are still up, which is unlikely. So that then falls back to, again, a defensive move where he's going to have to get TCs up, economy going, defend the landing, then get back on the water. Like, just going through that motion right now in my head, I just can't see how this can work. I mean, I'm being very pessimistic, but it's
typical Brit. Well, I actually think there's 2 options for dogao here. One is he goes to the south of the map, builds a dock at the corner, and tries to transport villagers across. Risky, because BacT could find it and shut it down. Or second option is to wall up, and really wall up, and then try and go castle as quickly as he can. You can see actually already that dogao has sold stone. He's bought some food. So dogao's going to use that market to get to the castle age a little bit sooner. And then from there, he'll make his play. He's actually going to move over to take stone. So what I anticipate from dogao here is obviously the castle age upgrade. He'll take some stone. And I think he's probably going to build more TCs once he gets to the castle age and try and outboom BacT here. Because BacT, he is building 2 ranges and archers coming forward as well. But saying that, BacT isn't far from the castle age either. In fact, he's just clicked up right now as well. So I'm feeling like dogao is, well, in the doghouse right now.
Yeah, that kennel's there. He's got to get inside that, that's for sure, if he wants to stay alive. Right, so he's going to, of course, build some palisades up. He's going to double layer it as well on that far right-hand side as those archers come over. They aren't going to get in for now, but they will get in at some point. I can imagine that. I do also like what BacT sent his fire galley to the bottom. I think it's on a patrol.
Yeah,
of some
it's on
sort
a patrol
anyway.
down here, just to prevent dogao sneaking across with that dock that I kind of suggested before. And he has got a villager down here, so I wonder if he might consider that. But nah, he's going to go back with that villager. Now, the problem here for dogao is he's lost complete map control. His opponent has four fishing ships taking from the fish on the water as well, just propping his economy up that much more. And I mean, dogao, once he gets to the castle age, what's the plan going to be? I think if he plays too defensively, he's going to pay the ultimate price and basically lose this game. I think he's got to get some map control back and repel BacT from pressuring his walls on all sides.
Yeah, it is a bigger problem as well. He can't build any TCs at this moment. He could buy it with stone if he wants, or sorry, with the gold for some stone. Or he is mining some, but it will take quite a while considering it's only got 2 villages. So he's gonna have to do something, which again probably involves definitely a siege workshop to come up, because either BacT's gonna make one and just push it, or the archer's gonna get in. He's going to force to build one anyway, or something. Because then on top of that, he's got his gold that's at stake here. Because again, the crossbows that will come in, so he's got to protect that at all costs. So
well, second TC is coming up. I think he did buy some stone, and he bought 100 stone. And he's going to build the third TC as well once he gets another 100 stone in the bank. So dogao is just going to play super defensive. If you are backed in this position, you go all in. I think that's what you do right now. You go forward, you build a forward siege workshop, you start pressuring these walls, and you basically do what dogao should have done last game, which is to go super aggressive right now. So we see the third TC going up for dogao. He's going to try and build his eco up behind this, but he's really counting on these walls holding up. And if BacT comes forwards and gets really aggressive, it's not going to happen. However, BacT is building a second TC as well, so it's not quite all in from him just yet. And, you know, if you're in BacT's position, just look at that score lead. You're going to be feeling pretty confident whatever you're doing right now.
Yeah, you're just thinking, okay, what can we do next? What can I have some fun with? But he'd be a complete professional. He knows what he's doing. The second TC, of course, on that wood line. Now, he's got a choice. Yeah, he could probably go with a third TC, but what he's actually built is another dock to the south. He just wants to maximize the water efficiency as much as possible. You might build another one up further up to the north, and then split the fishing ships up.
Yeah.
So just to get, again, that maximum food efficiency as possible. Because then what he can do with that, if he wants to, is just go up to a bit faster that Imperial Age, and then just close the game out. Because look at the food and gold count he's already at. Like 483, 665, that's pretty solid numbers.
Yeah.
He's going to go for that third TC. And just transition pretty well.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, BacT has now added more ships as well. He's got 7 fish on the water. And so, you know, even though he was slightly later to the Castle Age, even though he's only on 2 TCs at the moment, although the third is on the way, compared to dogao, who's already on 3, those fishing ships are propping up his economy quite significantly. And, you know, I'm kind of surprised to see BacT just boom up here. I do feel like the strat is to go really aggressive, but I guess there is more risk in that as well. And in fact, look, dogao on the right side, adding a 4th town center. And I'm wondering if dogao is going to bring himself back into this just by trying to outboom BacT. But it's going to be tough because, as we said before, he doesn't have the fish. And as you quite rightly said, the dock at the south is just going to allow BacT to have more access to more fish. And with all these fishing ships out, I don't know how dogao is planning to match that food income.
It's really clever because, as well, if dogao tries to make some attempt back on the water, he's already got the structure in place back to have a good spread of docks along the river. He's got ones at the top, ones in the middle, you have one to the south already. So that's really smart. But what he's also got now is a monastery and a siege workshop. He's not going to go aggressive with it. Those are just his Castle Age buildings. He's going to get a monk and a mangonel, maybe put a little bit of pressure, but look how close he is to that Imperial Age mark. Just needs 500 more food. Like, that's crazy.
Oh, he'll get that pretty quickly as well, even while creating villagers from 3 TCs. His food surplus is definitely growing quite quickly with all these fish on the water. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to end up being a slow mid-game here due to the kind of nature that dogao's walled up so defensively. But BacT should be the first to the Imperial Age by a long way, and the reason for that is because with 4 TCs, dogao is sinking a lot more resources into villager production and not into military, or not into surplusing the food so that he can get to imp a little bit faster. But, you know, still, siege workshop coming up for dogao. It gives him an opportunity to defend from these crossbows a little bit better, and BacT is clicking up to imp right now, 4%.
Hot damn. That's impressive. Yeah, this is going to be so tough. You're absolutely right on that 4 TC because, again, the docks only cost wood for the fishing ships, and again, much better fishing efficiency, of course, coming out of it. So it's one of those little things where dogao, he's done it because he's realized that he's lost the water, and then he has to try and claw it back through having more villagers, but at the same time, that's costing him all that food to get that. So it's really unfortunate at this point, because dogao's trying everything he possibly can to get himself into a shape where he can... I just don't know if it's going to be enough at this stage for him to survive. So it's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
I think he'll build the defensive castle. Obviously, the nice thing about the Franks is that you do get cheaper castles. That's lovely. And BacT here doesn't have any stone income at all. So, I mean, dogao might be able to stall BacT out with that castle because, I mean, it's going to take a while for BacT to get the siege out. It's going to take him a while to get the upgrades. And if dogao can stall him out with that castle, then that's going to give him maybe an in back into this. I think as well, if he puts it on the shoreline, if he's able to secure the castle on the shoreline, he will have a potential, the ability to build more docks, keep them safe, and allow himself to get back onto the water as well. But, I mean, there is no doubt that BacT is really pulling a very big lead here. We'll just have to see, can he close the game out in the next 5 to 6 minutes before dogao manages to catch up in eco and then stage a defense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely bang on there. That's for sure. Yeah, the castle will be so important for dogao just to keep the gold more than anything else.
Yeah, this left side looks really important to me.
It's a real vulnerable place, and it's definitely a good opportunity for BacT to exploit. But here's an interesting thing though. What is BacT going to be doing in this Imperial Age? Because he's got 2 siege boxes up, but I don't see any other military building apart from the 2 ranges.
No stable.
Now, of course, Franks aren't. Is there a stable?
No, there is no stable. You would expect there to be a stable. But
I expected to be that or a castle or something, because he hasn't got the stone. So he's 1,000 wood and 300 gold. I'm struggling here to think it's just going to make onages? Rams?
I mean,
full siege? Push?
I'm not seeing the game plan from BacT either, and this is kind of interesting to me, because when I realized, okay, he's not taking stone for a castle. So what is he doing? Well, actually, he's building a 3rd range, and it looks like we're just going to see the El Clasico hand cannons coming out once he gets chemistry. And, that always kind of blindsides me a little bit, because as the Franks, you'd always expect, a stable, fantastic knights, fantastic cavalier. But no, it's going to be the chemistry coming in from BacT, and that's going to slow him down a little bit.
Yeah, it is, because it's such a long upgrade to get for chemistry. And generally, you do see the 1v1 Franks where it is a hand cannon halb combination you do go with. I don't really normally see it on Highlands because you're normally contesting the water, but it hasn't been much of a contest.
No.
So it is a slow transition, though. That has to be said. Again, because of course you have to wait for that chemistry upgrade. And the other problem as well is that BacT hasn't got a lot of space on dogao's island because of the way this is been mapped out. Look how much he's going up the top, not the bottom as well. So this is a bit of an interesting thing to note, because now it's going to take a long time for his units to get across to be able to do any damage. And of course now, sorry to keep talking, but now dogao's got the castle up. So that's another interesting thing to take note of.
So it took BacT a long time to finish chemistry, and then it takes him a long time to train bombard cannons. Only now are we about to see the first bombard cannon come out, right now. And at the same time, dogao, he's just reached Imperial. So is dogao going to be matching? I feel like, okay, dogao's quite far behind here. If he waits for chemistry and then waits for the hand cannons, the bombard cannons, it might be a little bit late. I think he needs to get some military out now, and he needs to kind of shut down these units before they get massed up. Because dogao actually has a window of opportunity here.
Yeah, he absolutely does. I actually would have liked him if he actually did like a cavalier just to start off with, because they're much quicker to produce. Yeah, shut this down. Take out the bombard cannons. It'll make BacT rethink his plan, because he's think, okay, right, well, I need some halberdiers to clear this up, or a lot of these hand cannons, for sure. But he's going to go down the chemistry route as well. So this is a bit nervy for me, because now the bombard cannons can actually hit the gold.
And and the castle as well. So I mean, this is where I think, like, okay, dogao actually closed the gap to BacT because BacT did the really slow tech. It's really slow, it's really strong, but it's only going to be strong once he starts massing these units up. Once he's got like 20 hand cannons and like 6 bombard cannons, that's going to be really hard to stop. Like you said, if dogao had gone in there with maybe some quick cavalier and just kind of shut this down before BacT is able to actually mass up enough units, that could have been really strong. But since he's actually mirroring dogao, since he's BacT, since he's doing hand cannons and bombard cannons himself, he's still behind. because he still now has to wait for chemistry. He has to wait for the hand cannons and the bombard cannons to train. And meanwhile, BacT has already got, what, 8, 9 bombard cannons out and a bunch of hand cannons already.
That is terrifying. So dogau's probably now thinking, I don't know why he's making a trebuchet. I'm not sure that's the correct thing to make. But anyway, we'll skip the trebuchet because I don't think it's going to get created because it's going to get knocked down, the castle. But he's just going to try and buy himself some time now just to get what he needs to get out. He's actually got a couple of bombard cannons out already. So maybe he can make something work from it. But here's the thing to note, though. He's lost his main gold. Okay, but he's still got 3 golds to mine, by the way.
Yes.
There's still quite a lot of gold to take from at this point. So it's not all hope is lost just yet. So we'll see if he can actually make something from it. Again, this is all going to come down to some great work from the bombard cannon micro.
Yeah.
If T90's here, he definitely would add some of his amazing analysis on it, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, this is the thing with the bombard cannons. It's going to require a lot of micro from dogao since he's outnumbered. When you're the one that's outnumbered, you can't afford to take any unit losses. So you've got to be the one who micros. Whereas BacT, he's got so many more bombard cannons. You can just sit them there, and the moment dogao doesn't micro his units properly, well, they're dead. Because BacT outnumbers him like 3-1 right now. In fact, dogao's lost all of his bombard cannons already. He's only got, what, 6 or 7 hand cannons. And BacT is here with this unstoppable army right now, which it's already too big for dogao to deal with. So I think, looking how this is gonna go, I think this is gonna be a win for BacT, unless dogao can do something miraculous with this defense, and it's gonna be really tough.
It's gonna be tough, but look at BacT. He's throwing quite a lot of units into this town center fire, which they've only got +1 armor. So they're getting laid out. Yeah, he's lost the town center, but look at how many bombard cannons just gone down for BacT. Quite a few. So you can rebuild that TC without much cost, really. It just depends how much, dogao's going to lose out of it. That's the thing.
Well, right now as well, I want to point out that BacT does have siege engineers, whereas dogao does not. So BacT does get the extra 1 range on the bombard cannons as well. That's going to really help his micro also. We've also got BacT following through with a few light cavalry, and it's the GG, guys, as dogao realizes, okay, I just cannot hold this anymore. It was a nice attempt. I thought, maybe dogao could have pulled something out there, but I feel like, when you're behind, I think one of the worst things to do is just try and mirror your opponent. Because if you're already behind, how is mirroring your opponent actually going to give you an advantage? I think you've got to do something different. And I know that, okay, of course, the hand cannon, bombard cannon combo is super strong, but I still feel like he could have tried to go for something else and shut this down before BacT reached that critical mass and was able to overwhelm him.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on, especially in this scenario where it involves chemistry and hand cannon and bombard cannons, and again how the map was laid out. Just all those factors taken into place. It is easy for us to stand from our ivory towers and say, oh yeah, like come on, yeah, it's okay. You should have seen this one coming. But you still can be correct though on what we're saying, which is which we both said, which was the Cavalier route. If he went for the Cavalier with +4 armor, he would have had a good crack at taking out those bombard cannons early on. It would have kept the castle up, I would say, and of course. Buy enough time because you can still get the chemistry because it's not like the expensive upgrade either. Well, exactly. It's just the time.
It's slow, and that's another thing about dogao's map here. As you said as well towards the end, dogao had all those extra gold piles. He wasn't going to run out of gold anytime this game. Anytime soon anyway. In fact, it's BacT that's going to run out of gold first. So, dogao could have actually invested all of that gold into Cavalier and still had more than enough left over to switch into hand cannons and bombards a bit later on. But as you said, it is easier for us as looking at this from an outside perspective to say, oh, well, here's what he should have done. In the heat of the moment, of course, it's a completely different story. Yeah. And, I understand why he did the tech which he did. But there you go. BacT is going to get the second point on the board, and that means that BacT will take down dogao in a 2-0 victory and secure his spot in the main event. So congratulations